Yeah, I'm good whenever you are.
All right. Now, what are you doing for the week of Christmas?
I'm here, but I mean, I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, I'm here that Friday.
Okay. Let's do that then. I'm here. I'll be working.
I'm gonna record. Axelrod's gonna be here, and then as soon as his show over at 10, we're gonna record for his show, and then I can do you right after.
Okay, I'll be here. That's fine with me.
All right. Let me hear you.
Test. Hello, hello.
Go ahead.
Test. Hello, hello.
You hear yourself over there?
Not yet.
What about?
Test. There we go.
All right. All right. Here we go. And here we go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Lots of great stuff to talk about this week. Brand new show. I was out of the studio last week. I was out of town at a business function. Back in here now. Lots of stuff going on, even through the holidays. Lots happening. With the brand new numbers in from the market from last month. They're very, very interesting. They bumped up a little bit, which is great due to previous interest rates going down. Remember, and they were up again last month, but they're down. Sales are down like 27% the last 6 months. We'll talk about that. If you watch the trend, obviously we're in a seasonal marketplace, so you need to compare like November versus November. But it is kind of a little bit alarming to watch the trend since May. So we'll break that down, talk about what's happening. Hopefully we'll see another bump because we have some huge news again with rates. They're in the sevens. They finally came down in the sixes this past 3 weeks, which has been great news. And we'll talk about kind of what's happened with that. They hit like 6.8 and they bumped back up a little bit. Sorry, 6.6, and then they bumped back up to 6.8. We'll talk about kind of where they are at and what happened throughout the week. Hopefully we'll see that go back down and kind of what's happened. The market's predicted to jump in quarter one, and we'll go over that data. Really, the top four kind of forecasters are talking about interest rates where they should be, where they'll likely be in first quarter. And there's a threshold that all the studies are showing that all the buyers in waiting, all the people who are kind of stuck where they're at based on having a low interest rate, where they're going to jump in. Somewhere in the very low sixes, we'll talk about that number. And when it's predicted for that to be there, we had a huge meeting this week about it in our office. We'll talk about, which is great. Like I said, one thing that's great news, though, mortgage applications are up over 20% the last 3 weeks, which is some national data on CNBC. We'll talk about that. I want to talk about what's going on here locally, kind of what to look for going forward into quarter one, what to look for going forward into January. Last year, the day after Christmas, rates dropped almost 75 basis points, and the market went crazy. No one really even knew about it until after New Year's, and all of a sudden, once the buyers started figuring it out, everyone started jumping back in. Hopefully, we'll see that. There is a Fed meeting next week. Right now, there's a 98% chance of them reducing the rate again another quarter point, which doesn't directly affect the mortgage market, but indirectly it does. We'll kind of talk about that overall. Just lots of great stuff we'll talk about. Also, we'll look at what the sweet spots are for sellers in terms of months of the year to sell. They tracked it historically. There's 3 main points that are very beneficial for sellers based on inventory, based on competition, things like that we'll talk about. And also, we have an amazing scholarship program. We invested heavily. We have a real estate school. We're looking to grow our team again in 2025. Record-breaking year this year. We've done very, very well in the giant headwinds of real estate this past year. where many businesses are down tremendously. We've actually up in many areas. So we'll talk about that, but we're offering scholarships for anyone out there who is a very dedicated person who wants to serve at the highest level, very committed, very energetic, that helps want to serve clients at the highest level. We'll talk about that in today's show as well.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone who needs to say what those are exactly. A quick overview of how they work, right?
Absolutely, Rick. And that's just the whole reason we did the show. Like I think this next year will be 15 years doing the show, which is crazy. I used to be like the young kid doing it now. I'm like the older guy doing it here. But it's one of those things. It's like, man, this is happening over and over and over again where everyone makes the same mistake. And it's the whole reason why we still do the show in the time and prep, and just to hopefully get one message across. It's all I really care about is to really break this misunderstanding that really a lot of consumers have, the majority of consumers have. And it doesn't matter how affluent they are. It doesn't matter how many houses they've sold. They make the mistake over and over. And I'd be, open to say that the luxury homeowners are the worst. They make the worst decisions in how they pick agents. They want the one lady who sold the most houses in the neighborhood, but she just happens to live in the neighborhood, married to the husband who has the business, and then she doesn't do any marketing, but just gets the listings, and they cost them massive amounts of equity, but they think she's doing great just because she lives in the neighborhood. So it's all the most backwards way people pick agents, but the number one mistake that people make is they make the mistake of thinking that all agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, insurance person, waiter, waitress, it all has to do with people, and how it has to do with a service-based business. And so the difference is, how does that human execute in terms of what needs to happen? And so what most people don't realize is that most agents are just kind of winging it. If you look at what most agents do in selling a property, they don't really have a plan in place. They don't have a marketing budget. The average agent in our marketplace sells less than really 4 homes per year. That's 1 per quarter. There's not money to eat with, not money to put food on the table, much less spend in marketing to differentiate your property. And that was okay for some sellers when the market was hot during the COVID years. But now that the market started to really go back to where it was and gone back a lot, as rates have been 7%, it's a lot less buyers out there, a lot more difficult to sell. Right now, 50+% of properties aren't selling. If you take condos and homes, about 45% of homes are not selling when they're getting listed the first time. And then the ones that do sell, it's taking over 100 days to sell. And so that's something that people don't realize, that number one thing that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes in one thing only. That thing is the agent that you choose, period. It comes down to how does that agent execute when it comes down to taking the property. So what most people don't realize is that what most agents do is the 3 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. They say anything and everything to get the listing. I'm number one. I'm the best. I'll be the nicest, whatever it is. And then the second thing to do is the second P is they put it to MLS. And 3, they sit back and just pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing because they're just trying to survive. And here's the thing. If they get 10 listings, statistically only 5 of them sell. Most agents don't get 10 listings, but that's just kind of how the numbers work. And so it leaves you with a 50-50 chance of getting the result you want. And in many cases, the only way that you have to differentiate your property, because your agent is not spending money in terms of marketing, is to do one thing. That one thing is lower your price. And so you lower your price, and ultimately cost yourself your hard-earned equity because you made the wrong decision how you chose an agent, and you end up paying way more because the agent couldn't afford to market. And so what I did when I got the business, I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way than this. And if you look at it, right, the standards are very low. These new numbers are out. It's not even listed, but it's just something that came out this last week. 700,000 agents in the United States has not sold a single house this year in 2024. There's only about 1.2 million realtors in the entire United States. That means 50% of agents have not sold a single house this year, but they'll go with their friend who has zero marketing budget, zero experience, hasn't sold anything. So if they haven't sold a house in the last quarter, how desperate do you think they are to get a sale? And if the only thing standing between that sale is your hard-earned equity, what are they going to give up first? They always do, because we're on the other side of that transaction when we bring a buyer, and we see it every single day. They throw their client under the bus in 2 seconds to get that sale, because even their best of friends, because they want to get the deal done and they're desperate in that situation. So that's the last thing you want as a home seller. You want to understand, like, if I'm charged with a crime I didn't commit, or if I have someone who sues me for something, my assets, I want the absolute best most amazing, aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who's going to be absolutely dominant in that courtroom. And you should demand the same level of excellence when you're talking about your largest asset, not just my friend who just got their license, who hasn't sold a house in 2 years. Like, we see it every single week, and it costs people so much money. And so if you take anything from the show, the number one thing that determines your success or failure is the agent you choose. And that's true on the seller side and the buy side. And like I mentioned, most agents just wing it. There's 118 different variables to sell a property, and most people don't realize that. Most agents don't even know that. And so if each one's handled correctly, what it does is it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, can they drop the ball at any point? That could be anything. Does the agent actually answer the telephone? If you notice, most agents don't answer the telephone. That's because they're too busy doing other stuff. Number two, the photo quality. The photo order makes a big difference. If a web lead goes online and submits their information about your property, does the agent even call them back? And if they do call them back, how long does it take them to respond? And if you have negotiation and they're very desperate, guess what? They give up your hard-earned equity. And so all these things come in play. And so there has to be a proven, repeatable system to get leverage for the client. And that's exactly what I designed. I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells homes twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We licensed it to some other agents, other parts of the country, but it's exclusive to us here. And I also have another one for buyers out there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gets you priority access to foreclosure, distress sales, desperate sellers, builder closeouts, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as negotiation, the home inspection, to get you that closing table successfully with the most amount of money in your pocket. And both of those are designed to do one single thing. We stack the dominoes in favor of our clients. So at the end of all the dominoes, there's a massive competitive advantage for our clients, and that's exactly what it does. If you want to know more how it works, you owe it to yourself to at least check it out. And if you're just listening for a while, or a friend or relative, like, don't let them make the mistake over and over and over. Just looking at some of the previous horror stories, right? 8-year-old lady that we had on here just a couple weeks ago, $80,000 hard-earned equity wiped out because she basically didn't pick an agent. She had an investor take advantage of her. And so do not make that mistake. Reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, the real estate market is constantly changing. Now, here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. And I know certain programs make it a lot easier for the seller. Which ones do you offer?
Hey, Sean. In addition to our traditional program that sells your home for top dollar, we have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and a guaranteed offer program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy homes in the Grand Strand right now.
And what kind of return can you expect from them?
Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that makes sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods.
All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it on a certain date, they can ask for a home or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bid for it,
Use our proven marketing plan and sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan to get the home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. All kind of stuff happening right now in terms of the marketplace. There's two types of numbers we always talk about. Talk about the front windshield numbers. That's like what's happening real time in front of us. Those have slowed down just a little bit due to the holidays, which always tends to happen. But we have closed sales, which is like the rear view mirror. What just happened last month? It closed in November. We're obviously in December now. If it closed in November, though, you got to remember, it went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. And so it's really kind of just something you want to keep a feel of and watch both types of numbers. And so looking last month, closed sales for resale homes, which is like anything non-new construction, which is what most of us all own are worried about, is up 2.9%, which is good news overall. If you look, though, it is down significantly from where it was at the peak of this year in May. It's gone down almost every single month since May. Last year was a little bit similar. It does peak out. Last year it peaked out in June with 525 sales. This year it peaked out in May at 543 sales here, and then it's kind of bounced around and gone down ever since then. So from 543 in May down to 392 now, which is about a 27% drop. And it's something I keep watching as it has been trending. I do look year versus year, which is, November versus November, but also look at, hey, what's happening here right now in terms of the trend of the 6 month going in. I think this, as we all know, is an interest rate driven marketplace right now. As interest rates go lower, guess what happens? Buyers jump back in who are on the fence, and it makes a big difference with that overall. If you look at overall sales price here, sales price significant decline, down 4% last month for resale homes, which interesting overall, down 4.7%. One of the first times we've seen a significant decline like that. It has been bouncing around between 0.1%, 1% increase, 1% decrease, but last month down 4.7% from the same time last year. Right now, the overall average sale price is at $491,800. Median price is up 1.2%, which is good. The last couple months it has been up, which is good. Right now, $394,500. The month before that, $378,000. So I do like to watch month versus month and also watch year versus year. With that, one thing that's helping protect price right now has been inventory. And right now we're at 4.5 months of inventory, which is good. It's kind of healthy. So we've been at 4.5 all the way since August. So August 4.5, September 4.5, October 4.5, and November 4.5, which is good because it's helping protect price. It did jump up the previous months. If you go all the way back to like January this year, is only 3.4 months inventory. Remember, anything less than 6 months is a seller's marketplace. Anything more than 6 months, and what that really is the run rate, right, or the absorption rate of how fast listings are getting sold. If another property wasn't listed at the current run rate, how long would it take till all the inventory dries up? Right now it's 4.5 months. It's up 32% from last year, but the good news is helping protect price overall, which is good. Days on market was a little bit better last month than it was, but it's up at 101 days on market. The month before that is 104, month before that 106. So it's still 100 plus days for the average days on market of the properties that do sell. And so I think that's something a lot of people don't realize when they're selling. Remember, things you sell in a couple hours and close in a couple days. Now it's taking a lot longer out there. The marketing that you choose matters, right? The strategy you choose matters. And the biggest reason for that has to do with buyer traffic. Buyer traffic is down pretty significantly right now, down 8.6% from the same time last year. Right now, the average listing in the MLS for a home gets 3.2 showings. The problem with that is, guess how many showings it takes to get a contract on average? It takes 12.4. So it takes really, almost 4 times the amount of showings that the listings are not getting to actually get a contract. And that's, again, why you need good marketing, why you need great photos, why you need somebody who can sell and push it and make phone calls to match up buyers and sellers, because there's just a lot of inventory out there that buyers are really very picky. They're sitting back. And so it's important to make sure you have someone who's aggressive, who can push it for you, because again, the average showings per listing, 3.2, the average showings it takes to get a contract in the entire MLS is 12.4 showings overall. And you can see the problem there. And that's why the agent that you choose matters. That's why you don't want to go with just your average friend out there who just got their license, who hasn't sold that very many. You need marketing budget behind you to get you to help that happen going forward. So look at condo sales. They're getting crushed still. Right now, condo sales down 21%, 21.4% decrease from the same time last year at 294 condos. If it goes back to May, there was 459. We've seen some major challenges right now with insurance costs, with HOA costs. The insurance costs are driving the HOA up. There's also a significant amount of assessments that you're seeing. So a lot of people are very scared of condos right now. And it's just something that you're seeing overall, not just here, but all along any coastal area as well. Average sale price is up, though, surprisingly. Year versus year, up 7.1% at $278,000. Median price up 6.1% at $245,000. The one really kind of big number everybody's been watching has been inventory. Right now, months of supply of inventory is 7.2. It's up 71.4% from the same time last year, which is significant. And so that is a buyer's market, meaning there's more sellers out there than there are buyers for condos right now. It's a very, very, very difficult market to get them sold. We've had a lot of success recently because of our marketing, because of our strategies that we're able to do. Same thing there with showings. Showings for condos are down 16.7% from last year. The average listing in the 6-month period gets 2.0 showings. The problem is the amount of showings it takes to get a contract, 9.5. So you need 5 times the amount of showings than the average listing gets to get a contract. And so that's why most properties sell in the market. And that's why you want to make sure that you have some type of differentiation that can really help you through that process. So keep watching with that. Again, we'll hopefully see that bounce back as soon as rates go up. Sorry, as soon as rates go down in the first quarter, hopefully very, very soon in January. Looking at the overall front windshield numbers of properties that closed, a little bit slower this past week. In the last 7 days, 377 properties under contract for $137,308,000. 2 properties over $2 million, 10 properties over $1 million, 60 properties over $500,000. And inventory still pretty high at 1,400 single-family homes overall. Just to give you an example, 2 weeks ago, there was 453 properties under contract. Right now, 377. And that's very typical. The week 2 weeks before, a week or 2 weeks before Christmas, people tend to kind of be on hold. But I'll tell you this, the buyers that are out there are very, very, very serious. We have a lot of 1031 buyers, a lot of investment buyers, a lot of people who are relocating, trying to start a job before the new year. So that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about selling, especially right now. If you're thinking about selling the first year, right now it's time to start prepping for that. Interest rates, big news there. It was 6.68% early this week, which was awesome. It's like I said, we had a 3-week run there where mortgage refinances, and also mortgage applications were up to the roof, up 27%, which is awesome. But right now, a 30-year fixed rate, 6.87%. We're thankful because just 2 shows ago, we were at 7.04. The show before that, 3 shows ago, 7.09%. But right now, 6.87% in terms of 30-year fix. Next week is the Federal Reserve meeting, so we'll talk about that hopefully on next week's show. 15-year fixed rate, 6.14%, which is great. A 30-year jumbo loan right now, 7.1%. A 30-year FHA, 6.25%, which is awesome. And a 30-year VA, 6.26%. Both of those are very, very, very attractive. And so I mentioned earlier about the interest rates. We had a big call with one of my coaches and mentors, and we looked at some national data and a lot of surveys, and they really looked at where do rates need to be before buyers jump back in, and kind of what's that pain threshold where they will really start taking advantage of these rates and where the market kind of gets back on fire. And there's predicting that 6.3 to 6.4 is the number that buyers are looking for to get them off. So many people want to move. They're locked in at a lower rate. So they're kind of just stuck. They don't really want to be there. They want to buy something else. And that 6.3 to 6.4 is when you see a lot of buyers jump back in. And all the really 4 major groups, we looked at a whole chart, and their predictions for mortgage rates next year are all predicting, all 4 of them had it getting to 6.4 or below in Q1 of 2025. And so that's what we're very hopeful for. That would be great. And we're already seeing a lot of buyers, again, who are seeing these mortgage rates go down and already jump back in once it gets below 7. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about selling. You want to probably do it a little bit earlier rather than later. And if you remember last year, we had a huge jump in January because rates dropped almost 75 basis points the last week of December. And the whole market went crazy January, February. And so you saw the spring market happen earlier. I told my team this morning we're probably going to see something very similar to that based on what everybody's predicting. So if you're thinking about selling, get your ducks in order. I'd probably get some price strategy, get your kind of simple fix up. If you have any questions on how to do that, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. Again, we also have a free online cash offer tool. You can get a cash offer. You can get a free online home evaluation. You have a dashboard to keep track of all your properties. Free, no hassle at all. Just go to blakesloan.com. Enter your information. We'll take a quick break right back in a second.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. Here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 more.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When
Now Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year. It struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big change. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start time.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan, Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I working the ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, anywhere from $245,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we do every week here is put our money where our mouth is. And again, the biggest difference we talk about is we want an agent in this marketplace. If you go back to previous data and the average amount of properties, the showings each property gets, you need about 4 to 5 times the amount of showings to get a contract. That's because you need marketing, you need exposure, you need somebody who can hustle, right? A lot of agents playing golf 2-3 days a week. They're not selling the property when they're out doing that. You want somebody who hustles. And so we spend almost 6 figures a month, every month in marketing. And I would say that because it's all because of our unique business model, how we set things up with a team of buyer specialists, 25 plus buyer specialists, we have listing specialists. And so the reality is we're able to outperform and make massive amounts of phone calls. Over 12,000 phone calls just last week. During this time period, most agents have already taken off. We're still hustling. So right now, active home buyers, 78,711 active home buyers, 78,711 active home buyers, the username, password, account, and they're searching for properties just like yours. And that's where we have what we call buyers in waiting. And so that's just something that's important to understand. Like if you have a situation where you need somebody to push it, you want somebody who already has with buyers in waiting. And then our goal is to use our systems and our technology to match up buyers and sellers. And that's what our sales team does when they make those phone calls every single day. And so right now I got Deborah, she's from Clemens, North Carolina. I got Donna Shaw from Myrtle Beach here locally. I got Jeanette from Mount Vernon, Iowa, which on there. I got Baldwinsville, New York, Jersey City, New Jersey, West Springfield, Massachusetts, San Francisco, California, Aberdeen, North Carolina, Horsham, PA, all these places right now. Another San Francisco, California. Here we go. I got one in Moscow right now. That's pretty cool. Who's searching at Terry Devine, Moscow. That's pretty wild. So anyways, if you're thinking about selling, we have what we call buyers in waiting. And so we have technology that takes any new listing, aka your house. We use that and reverse engineer the most likely buyer for that property, just like some AI that bases it on their previous search patterns, and it scores them. And it scores them to the percentage match of your property. Then guess what we do? Hop on the phones and call them. And those part of those 12,000 phone calls a week are reaching out and saying, hey, we got a brand new listing in this neighborhood. It matches exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to take a look at it? And guess what they say? Yeah, because it is what they're looking for, because I know that based on the technology, and they're more interested in it. It's not some cold call. They're just people that we spent money to acquire as buyer leads. We match them up with buyers and sellers. Why is that? Because that's what I'm in business to do, is make money. And I make money by matching up buyers and sellers, and it's win-win for both, versus the old school way of just putting it in MLS and praying someone else brings a buyer. And so if you have somebody the holiday season, your friend, relative, aunt, uncle, you're at dinner and somebody mentions, or they come in smelling like they may sell their house, and say, you got to do me a favor. You got to call my buddy Blake. Save me your phone right now as Blake Sloan Sold, 843-808-SOLD. We're hustling through the holidays, to the new year, as we do every single year, because that's just how we're wired and just who we are. So really quick, awesome success stories. Super proud of our team who's been pushing. Adam owned a commercial property in Conway for a number of years. Recently decided how to change the plans on what he wanted to do with the property. He decided right now is the time to sell, to get ahead, get the property sold while prices are near all-time high. Thankfully, Adam's heard about us on the same exact radio station, knew exactly who to call first. We came in, I designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic within just a couple weeks, had a fantastic offer on his commercial property. He was able to get maximum equity in his pocket and reinvest that into his next business venture, which we're super excited about. So awesome for Adam there. Also, Chad and Avery recently inherited a property from Avery's father, who had passed away. After living at home for 1 year, they decided that it was time for a change and wanted to move outside Myrtle Beach. Chad and Avery did not want to go through the hassle of having a normal selling process, which they were concerned about. Number one, fixing things up. Number two, having tons of buyers tramp through their home in terms of how they worded it. But the main thing was just making the repairs. They originally reached out to a few investors to see if they get a cash offer on the home. They met with multiple ones, and they realized they were only paying pennies on the dollar. The good news is one of Chad's friends mentioned Sloan Realty Group to them in the past, gave us a call. We came in, showed them we had hundreds of buyers, just like I mentioned earlier, looking for properties just like theirs. We able to set up a custom plan, design our global marketing blitz, launch all that, professional photos, virtual walkthrough, and match up to one of our buyers with a perfect, just a couple days as is, meaning they had no repairs, cash all from their home. They were able to move forward, get way more money than they thought they could get, and that was something awesome for them. So if you want to be that next success story, right, don't sit on the market. Right now, nearly 50% of properties aren't selling. Reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We're here to help you through all the holidays, any real estate question, 843-808-SOLD. See you back here next week.